Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at another kit that I've actually been looking forward to building for a really long time. This is the booster unit type Valken from Assault Suits Valken, an old, pretty obscure video game that I honestly have no experience with. I don't have any information about like the actual backstory of the game or anything like that. It's just a really, really cool design. I've always been a fan of it. So this is from PLUM. I've taken a look at a couple of PLUM model kits before, especially the Leonos kits. Recently took a look at one of those which was reissued. So this one was reissued. This kit has actually been out for a few years. It's been out for a while, but yeah, it was recently reissued, so I was finally able to get my hands on one. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it, so let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, and as for the box art here of this one, you just have a photograph of the painted sample build right there, which does look really cool. You can't necessarily see the booster unit all that much here on the front. You can just kind of see it there in the background, but you can tell from the mech that it has a really cool look to it, very similar to the Leonos in that it looks sort of like a very realistic, sort of like walking tank sort of mecha, so very utilitarian looking, with its just green color scheme there. It's not really super colorful or anything by any means, and just that cool kind of background. So cool image there for the front of the box. On the side of the box, we just kind of got the same thing here with the Valken booster unit type. On the side, this is 1/35th scale, as you could see there as well. Again, that's also the same scale as the Leonos kits, but here we have a couple of different poses. Front view, the back view there, where you can see in much more detail the booster unit there with the kind of like side parts folded down. Those are typically folded up, I guess, when it's in use. And we have a little stand for that, which is nice. There's a detail of the head and the underside of the booster unit there with those folded up, like I said, and with the wings folded out as well. A look at the feet, which have these kind of like roller wheel parts there on the back for boosting along. On the other side there, once again, the same image that we have on the front of the box, some information here in Japanese. And then all the way over here on the side, we have the list price of 7,800 yen for this one. And for a pretty good sized box here, as you can see, not a bad price for this one. Let's go ahead and see what we got inside the box. The instruction manual itself is not very extensive, although we do have quite a lot of parts in here. As I said, like the box is pretty good size. Again, very similar like with the Leonos, the construction is going to be pretty simple. So the front just has the box art, PLUM logo on the back. The inside has our color guide there and a couple of reference images for you to refer to for the painting of it. We got our parts list here, and the inside is just basically 4 pages here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pages all in black and white there of the construction of it. Pretty simple and straightforward. Let's go ahead and take a look at the runners then. All right, getting into the runners, first off, we do have some polycaps here, PC1 and this one, which is PC2. These are all in gray. And the runner A here is in our main green color. So again, really nice detail around here on all of these parts. It does look very cool. That color is continued onto runners B, C, and D here. So we have 2 of the B runner, which looks like a lot of parts like there for the legs. Runner C here we have 1 of, and then runner D we have 2 of these as well for some more parts in green. Runner E is in a lighter gray color there. Then runners F and G are going to be in a kind of medium gray color for a lot of the frame and joint type parts. We have 2 of this F runner and then 1 of the G runner. Again, so even on like the joint parts and stuff, as you can see, some nice detail around on those parts. Runner H is this one little clear part there for the mono eye. Runner I is in a darker gray here for the main weapon for the kit. And then from here onward, I think this is where we get into the booster unit type, where all the runners that we've seen so far would be standard with the regular one. Now here with runners J and K, we have the green parts for the booster unit specifically here, as you can see, some larger parts on there. And then lastly, runners L and M are going to be the gray parts for the booster unit and the clear parts for the stand for the booster unit around back, and that's it. Alright guys, so here is the kit all built up. Again, it's going to be very similar to the Leonos kit from PLUM that we've taken a look at before. I've now built and reviewed a couple of those, but this one here, again, has a lot of really great detail on it. I really like that green color that it's molded in, actually. It does look really, really nice. It's quite a unique and nice color there for the plastic, just straight out of the box. But again, really cool design here. Good thing that it comes with a stand, because that backpack is certainly going to be very long and heavy. Like I said before, that backpack was definitely one of the main things that drew me to wanting to check this kit out. Aside from just being a cool mecha design there, that backpack is really, really interesting. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of great detail on there, and while we don't necessarily have a ton of accessories, there are a few of them here that are pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and check those out first. So first up for accessories, we do have the gun here, which is going to be really simple in its construction. So you will have seam lines on this, as you will on the kit, just kind of in a number of places as you might expect. But again, really nice design here for this. It did have a little peg there on the side of the handle for plugging into the hand, but the hand that we have here for this trigger finger hand that we have, doesn't have a peg hole in it, so it actually didn't really fit well in there, so I actually cut that peg off. And then even with that off of there, the handle doesn't really fit into the hand kind of properly, so it's very strange. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of modification on that. Either that or I have something wrong, but considering that the gun is only like 2 parts sandwiched together and then like 1 little part there for the tip, there's really not much that you could possibly do wrong with this. So I think it's just a matter of you're gonna have to modify that a little bit just to get it to be held in that trigger finger hand. Now we do also have, and as far as hand options, a open hand as like a rifle support hand here for the left side. Other than that, just the 2 closed fists that we have there on the kit right there at the moment. We do also have a shield, which is nicely detailed, but a lot of open space there, so a big decal will look really nice on this once that is all painted up. This can rotate here on this connection, and where this connects is right here on the back side of the forearm right there, so you'll just connect it into there and it'll just be used as a shield. Now it's probably going to clash a little bit with these shoulder shields up there, so we'll have to see how difficult or easy that is to pose. Last thing here as far as the accessories go is just the standard backpack. So if you didn't want to have the boost unit backpack, that just comes off, and honestly comes off a little bit too easy. I would recommend just gluing that on, especially with how big and heavy this is. Just glue that backpack on there, but this is just the standard backpack. If you wanted to just use that instead, it just goes on there like that. These are a little bit articulated. You can kind of move those side parts up and down there on that. And then of course we have the stand for holding up the boost unit there at the back. Absolutely not going to be necessary for this to be able to stand up on its own. Now let's take a little bit closer look here at the main kit and talk a little bit about some of the articulation of it here. So the head of the clear part there in the head looks really nice. These kind of like bar details in there were a little bit tricky to get in. So use like a tweezers or something to get those into the correct position. Once you get them in, they should be in there pretty securely. As you can see, we have a seam line down the middle of the head there, but some pretty good upward movement there for that to be able to be pointed up all the way to there, down to there. And then of course we have left and right movement, but it's going to be a little bit, again, kind of watch out for these parts there on the side. Going to be a little bit tricky. You kind of move that. It's actually pretty tight there on the ball joint, left and right, but that will move like so. Here in the torso section, unfortunately, no forward or back, side to side movement really much to speak of there. So basically all we're going to have is just some rotation between the top and bottom half of the torso. Here for the shoulders, the shoulder will be able to swing forward and back a little bit there. It's basically just on a ball joint, up and down like that. These shoulder shields they're not really meant to move. You could sort of kind of rotate them a little bit, and the shoulder armor itself can only move up slightly, allowing you to bring the arm out to the side, not even to 90 degrees, but close to 90 degrees there. And then of course we've got some rotation at the top of the bicep, a single joint here in the elbow, giving you about a 90-degree bend here, and the wrist is on a ball joint, but the ball joint is kind of deep in there, so really all you're going to get is just rotation there at the wrist. Now we do have another interesting aspect of that in here in the forearm, that this actually extends out for like a kind of punching maneuver, I guess is maybe what that's supposed to be for. Other than that, I don't know if it's maybe just made for like a Pat Labor kind of style, just made to be able to reach its weapon or something a little bit easier. But anyway, an extending motion there at the forearm. Going down here to the waist section, no skirt armor really to speak of. We do have this part here at the back, which is removable if you want to have that on there or not. You can have that on there, but this, like with the backpack, will be able to just move up and down like that. You can kind of change the angle of that side to side a little bit like so, but basically it's just sort of meant to be on there like that. At the hips are just connected, or the legs are just connected via a ball and socket joint there, but we do have a little bit of rotation here at the top. You can ultimately bring the legs out to the side, really kind of only to about that much, so not super wide. Obviously front and back, not going to be any issues with that. At the knee bend is pretty tight, and you're only going to get kind of not even 90 degrees out of that, so just a little bit of a knee bend, not a whole lot there. But it's nice in the way that the parts are designed here for the leg. We don't have any seam lines around here on the legs, at least for the main leg part. We will have a little bit on the feet, as like the toes have a seam line down the middle of them, and also this center part right there. But as for the ankles, that's also on a ball joint, so it'll go a little bit side to side, a little bit forward and back. Around here on the back of the foot, you have this wheel part, which is a working wheel in that it does spin. That can actually move down. can actually move this kind of up and down a bit for when that's in use, up underneath the feet, just the nice detail there. And the front wheel is right here, so it's meant to be able to kind of put that down, I guess, and then go on these wheels. This front wheel though is not an actual working wheel, it's just a fixed piece in there. And then in the front of the foot, each toe is able to move up and down, and then the middle section is also able to move independently as well. So you can kind of move each of those front 3 parts separately like that. As for the flight unit, we will have some seam lines here on this, of course here on the side there, but like kind of the main side parts of this will move up and down. You also have this wing bit which pops out of the side there like that with some really nice detail kind of all around. The middle section doesn't move or do anything, so this just attaches onto the back. You can kind of adjust the main parts up or down as needed and have the wings out there like that. So pretty basic, but a really cool design there for a big backpack for this. As for the size of this, here it is compared with a 1/44 scale Gundam kit. So you can see it's going to be definitely a bit larger and much bulkier. So kind of comparable to like a 1/100 scale Gundam kit, even though the scale of this is actually 1/35 scale. That's just how it's going to compare size wise. So pretty good size model kit. Other than that, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of poses here with this. Now, emphasis on a couple of poses because obviously with this kit just being the way it is, it's not going to be one that is like super posable. You're not going to be able to do, you know, a ton of different poses with this. It is going to be somewhat limited just based on the design and the articulation that it has built into it. It's going to be very similar to the Leonos kits that we've taken a look at in the past, where you're getting this kit much more just for the aesthetic of it being sort of like this kind of like walking tank aesthetic, which I've talked about in the Leonos reviews. Kind of less so in this case as it has the boost unit, so it does kind of have a little bit different function to the mecha itself, as this one does seem to be a little bit more suited for like flight or at least like very fast movement anyway, even though I believe in the game the Leonos are actually also quite fast. But anyway, this is the kind of kit that you're going to pick up if you like the look of it, and it does look really great. I think you could just go in and do a little bit of panel lining on this, maybe throw a couple of decals on there here and there, throw some matte coat on it, and it could be really good looking just straight out of the box. Like I mentioned, I do really like the colors that it's molded in. That green especially does look really nice, so even if you wanted to do like very minimal work on it and just have a good looking kit, you could definitely do that. But obviously painting this up and, you know, going through and doing some nice pre-shading and weathering and everything to just kind of really emphasize the aspects of the design, I think it's going to look fantastic. It is going to take a little bit of work because there is a number of seam lines around here and there, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it in the end, as this is going to look really, really nice once it's all painted and, you know, you do a little bit of weathering on it, or a lot of weathering, just kind of depending on what you want to do with it. But really great kit here. Really happy that I was finally able to get my hands on this one, because like I said, this is a kit that I've been kind of having my eye on for quite a while. I always thought that it looked really cool. So definitely check it out, guys. And if you have any other further questions, of course, you can let me know down in the comment section below. If you guys want to check out some more mecha models, paints and tools and supplies and all that good stuff, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Got all sorts of cool stuff there for you guys, so definitely check that out. And as always, if you would also like to like and or subscribe as well, that would be greatly appreciated. If you guys enjoyed this review today, if you liked taking a look at something a little bit different, really appreciate your guys' support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope you all have a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.